To me, math and music are so intertwined that it's hard for me to, like, I will sometimes sketch a piece as a series of numbers, and I know what it means. So like to me, notation is graph. So I can't completely distinguish. I don't know that I have as clear a distinction of where one begins and when one stops. Like, the great thing about music is that it's so emotionally connected. And that's where, physics is not as much. And I think that's where music has such a, it's such a holistic thing that it's the entirety, at least, of my being is involved. Again, that was, I think, with Martin Grubinger, when we started talking about this piece, he had that perspective of me. He said, you're from the Middle East, but your family is from Europe, you live in the States, you're kind of citizen of the world. So he kind of, like, his perspective actually kind of got me thinking about that concept for that piece. And again, that's one of the reasons I love working so much with soloists, is that they do, the exchange of ideas is very fruitful. When I write a concerto, I insist on meeting with the soloist and seeing them play in person. Like, recordings are not, they don't do the same thing. There's something about the physical presence of a person, the way they move, the way they hold their instrument. It's often when I'm composing, I imagine them play the piece. And actually, when I orchestrate, I always imagine an actual orchestra on stage. Like, I'm always thinking about the physical, back to physics, about the physical manifestation of the piece. I think that's, I don't know how other people do it, but when I teach, that's what I always find students, as long as they're thinking of composing or orchestrating as sort of, pen to paper, it's very difficult for them to do well. But once they imagine a stage, like, I imagine a specific stage with a specific orchestra, with a specific soloist. I go very specific to make sure that I'm actually doing the work that I want to do. I think it took me a long time. People would ask me, what's the most important thing that coming to New York did, or studying with John Corliano? And I kind of didn't know exactly. And I think now I have enough perspective I think one thing is that you only learn who you are when you're not where you grew up. So like if you grow up in a small town in, I don't know, rural Pennsylvania, it's only when you move to New York City that you realize that you're from a small town in rural Pennsylvania. Like before that, you know it theoretically, but you don't really understand it. And like early on, one of the things that happened here was that people were like, often would mention the Middle Eastern flavor of my music. And in Israel, no one ever said that my music has Middle Eastern flavor. Like in Israel, I was not at all, because people are so much more extreme about it, but it's there. So I think learning who I am to people that are not from exactly my background was a big revelation. And I think the other thing, and this I credit John very, very deeply, is, it took me a long time to understand what he actually meant. I remember he would always say, you're very emotional and you express it in the music. You're not afraid to express emotions in the music. And I was like, okay. Well, I don't know why. He was like, no, that's really important. Like you should listen to your emotions and think about them and sort of start from the emotion. And that's why, it doesn't start, I wouldn't say it starts from the numbers for me. I think they're a huge part of me. But I think emotion and expression is a huge part of me as well. And I think that's something that he saw very clearly and sort of helped me come in touch with more.
Ich heul noch. Wo, wer? Kalt, du Fisch. Levi, noch kälter, du Wäschewurm. Noch kälter, immer kälter. Du nickendes.